Okay. So come sitting in the middle of the mat. Cross the legs. And if you've got any discomfort in the hips, then you can just pop a little cushion or block underneath the bottom. Relax the hands down onto the knees. Take a nice roll with the shoulders and let the shoulders drop down the back. And then take a deep inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, let the eyes softly close. Let the chin drop very slightly down so that you can lengthen the back of the neck. And just make sure that you're sitting forward a little bit so that you can feel the sitting bones underneath you. So the two little bones underneath the bottom. And just have a gentle lift through the posture. Start to slow and deepen your breath. Breathing into the belly. As you inhale, you can feel the stomach expand, and as you exhale, you can feel the stomach contract. With each breath, bring more focus into the body, more focus into the mind. And start to become really aware of the physical sensations. If you feel warm or cold, any pains or tension in the body, tuning in with yourself. And especially as we're focusing on twists today, just really recognizing any sort of niggles or tension in the back or the shoulders. Perhaps a bit of pressure in the lower back. And checking in with the mind, noticing any frustrations, any different feelings you have, and not needing to explore any reasons or stories behind them, but just acknowledging any emotions. And now, keeping the eyes closed, just bring the hand, the back of the hand, just underneath the nostrils. And as you breathe, see if you can feel air coming more fluidly through one side. So I can feel that my right nostril might be a bit blocked and my left feels more fluid. And then we're going to take the ring finger onto the left side and the thumb onto the right side. And we're just going to do a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. So if you kind of know what this is about, then you can keep your eyes closed. If you feel like you do need to look at the positioning of the hand, then you can of course open the eyes. So we're going to start with lifting the thumb. And we're going to take 5 deep breaths just through the right nostril, making sure we're breathing into the diaphragm. Inhale. 4. 3. 2. 1. Changing over, thumb presses down onto the right and the ring finger lifts off the left. And inhale. 4. 3. 2. 1. And release the hands. Just return to your natural breath. Bring the hands to the heart, pressing the thumbs into the chest. Softly bow the head down and open the eyes. And we're going to come straight into our warm-up. So just release the fingers down by your sides, about shoulder width apart, and then squeeze the shoulder blades back behind you so that you're opening up the chest, pulling the shoulders back, and looking slightly up to the sky, and then sort of lifting, pushing the chest forward, and pinching the shoulder blades together at the back. Good. As you exhale, start to curve the spine, bringing the fingertips forward. Tuck the chin down, and then feel like you're slightly rocking back to curve the back as much as you can. One more time. Inhale and lift. Push the chest forward. Think of opening the shoulders and the chest. Exhale, curving the spine. Good. And release the center. Bring the right hand slightly behind you. Inhale, lift the left fingertips up. Exhale, bring that hand all the way outside the right thigh. And then start to look over that right shoulder. So you're trying to visualize twisting from the middle of the back, looking over the shoulder, and use your exhalations here to see if you can twist around a little bit further. One more breath. Release back to the front. Place the left hand behind you. Inhale, breathe the right arm up tall, and then bring it outside that left thigh, looking over the left shoulder. 2, inhale. The last one, maybe pushing a little bit further. Releasing around to the front. Good. Rock forward onto the hands and then sit back onto the toes. So you're tucking the toes underneath you, the feet are together, and then sitting the way back. At any time this gets too uncomfortable, you can just untuck the toes and sit back on the heels. And we're going to do one really big neck roll round to the right. We're just doing one each side, so let the chin drop down to the chest. Take it nice and slow. Keep the neck really soft, so the neck isn't holding any tension. Let the head drop right back. Bring it softly and slowly round. Once the chin gets down towards the chest, you start to slowly take it the opposite direction, round to the left. Feel your way around this stretch. Really keep focused on that neck staying soft. All the way round, down towards the chin. Keeping sitting back on the heels if you can. If it's got uncomfortable, just untuck them. Interlace the fingers behind the head. Look up slightly. Open the elbows as far apart as you can. And as you exhale, start to bring that chin down toward the chest. But don't push down on the head. The hands are just lightly rested there. They're not pushing on the neck. So the chin is down the chest, but keep lifted through the spine. One more breath. Firstly, release the hands, then lift the head and release those toes. It's a nice stretch down the back of the feet. Coming onto all fours, tabletop position, spread the fingers, press the palms into the mat. And we're just going to start rotating, so they're called rib rotations. Just check the knees are hip width apart, wrist shoulder width apart. So when we do a cat-cow, we're sort of going like that, but with rib rotations, we're coming past those stretches and pushing the ribs out to the side. So you can take this at your own pace. So go however slowly you need to go. You're pushing the ribs out to the side, coming through your cat, pushing the ribs out the other side, coming through your cow, making those big circles. Any areas which feel quite tight, you can just pause there for a moment to really feel the stretch. So this is where you're really tuning in with your body and what you need. There's usually one side that's a bit tighter than the other. And maybe reversing directions now. Keeping those hands really actively pressing into the mat, using your breath to move. Our breath is like the music that we can move to. That's why we don't need music playing, because you can listen to that sound. Coming back to the center. And then just step both feet back one by one, back to a plank. And then drop the knees down into the mat, keeping the elbows tucked in, slowly lower onto your stomach, all the way down. Point the toes, squeeze the bottom, and then we're going to lift to a cobra, but we're going to twist in our cobra. So we're going to peel the right shoulder back as we lift. So press the hands into the mat, look over your right shoulder, make sure the hips stay down, and this is about the shoulders opening. Keep squeezing the bottom and engaging the core, so squeezing the belly in. One more breath. Exhale, release down. Inhale, left shoulder peels back, twisted cobra. Engaging core and squeezing the bottom. Opening the chest. One more breath. Exhale all the way down. One cobra in the middle here. So inhale, lift. And exhale, release down. Push back through the hands, lifting up to tabletop. And roll back to a child's pose. So the toes come together. And the knees are just slightly wider than the hips. So you can feel the ribs kind of on the inside of the thighs. The forehead just rests down onto the mat. And the upper body and the hands completely release. If you want to, you can just wiggle a little bit side to side, which sometimes helps the hips to really start releasing. Visualize grounding the hips back down to the heels. And this is a passive stretch, so you can just completely let go. One more deep breath here. Rolling all the way up to our tabletop position again. And then again, we're going to step back to a plank. Now try to line up the toes hip width apart, and the hands are really active, pushing the mat away from you, and they're shoulder width apart. Middle fingers pointing forward. Now we exhale and lift the hips up into our first down dog. And we're trying to build strength here, so we don't want to lock into any of the joints. So you've got a soft bend in the elbows, soft bend in the knees. The hips are tilting up towards the ceiling to extend our lower back. And we're going to take a little twist here. So really press into your left hand, and then see if you can bring that right hand off and touch your hold your left ankle. And then try to look under your left armpit. Make sure you're keeping a bend in that left elbow because you don't want the pressure on your elbow joints. 2 more breaths. For the last breath, maybe twisting a bit further. And release the hands back to the mat. Really engage the right arm, keep bending the right elbow. Left hand comes to your right ankle, looking under your right armpit, twisting through the spine. 2 more breaths. 1. Maybe twisting a bit further. Release back to down dog. And we're going to nice and slowly float the toes forward towards the hands. All the way to a forward fold. We're going to take the feet hip width apart. Good. And come to a nice ragdoll. So cup each elbow in each hand. The chin is slightly tucked into the chest. So you can really release that back of the neck and the shoulders. And here you can rock side to side, back and forward a little bit, just really gently rocking. And we're visualizing the feet really grounding down into the earth now, connecting with our Mula Bandha, that's our root lock. So feeling energy from the earth and that pull of the feet down, gluing us into our mat. And that's where we get our stability. We're keeping a soft bend in the knees and really trying to let the shoulders completely let go. So they're going toward the ears, gravity's just taking us down. One more breath. Release the hands. And then walk the feet slightly toward each other. So you've got just a tiny, tiny couple of millimeters between the feet. And then we're going to crouch all the way down, so our heels pop off. Take a tiny little gap between the knees and then tuck your head in toward your body, like you're wrapping yourself up into a really tight ball. And then visualize your heels trying to press down onto the mat. And you should feel a nice stretch down the backs of the Achilles. So this is another place that we don't often get a really good stretch. So we're really going to try and think about those heels pressing down, all of our weight going down toward the mat. Keeping that chin tucked in. Breathing 2. Last breath, maybe press the heels even further down. And very nice and slowly, pressing through the hands to lift back to forward fold. Extending the legs. And then we're going to keep a bend in the knees and roll up really nice and slowly, uncurling through the back. So think about your lower back uncurling, middle back, upper. Eventually the shoulders will roll back and down and the head will lift. Good. So before we come into our little sun salutations flow, just thinking about our mountain pose. This is kind of the foundation for all our technique. This is where we're thinking about where we should be activating, where we should be softening. So we talked about our Mula Bandha, the root lock, pressing down into the earth, grounding us physically and mentally. And the energy draws up the legs. So we're imagining we're squeezing a penny between the thighs. There's a micro soft bend in the knees so that we protect the joints. And we imagine kneecaps being lifted up the legs, squeezing the bottom. If you notice a bend in your back, maybe you can feel it, or there's a mirror somewhere, then you tuck the bottom underneath you just a little bit to try and extend that lower back, and that will take the pressure off. Our Uddiyana Bandha, which is our core, so we squeeze up through the pelvic floor. Imagine you really need to go to the toilet and squeeze all those muscles. And abdominal muscles zip back towards the spine and then lift up underneath the ribs, and that lengthens our body even more. The fingers actively point towards the earth, which pulls the shoulder blades down the back. The shoulder blades also feel like they're pulling apart from one another. So rather than squeezing the shoulder blades together, you're widening your back. And the chin is tucked down a little bit. So that helps us to soften the neck. And we keep soft across the chest, the shoulders and the face. And then we just allow ourselves to breathe here. Coming into our first sun salutations. Inhale, hands to Pranamasana, to the heart. Exhale, relax those shoulders down, keeping the hands soft. Inhale, flex the hands, lift the hands up over the head to a small back bend. So allow the neck to drop back if you feel comfortable to, and then squeeze in the bottom, push the hips forward. Lifting back up, and you only bring the head up last once the whole body is straight. And then you exhale all the way down to Padasana, forward fold, keeping that soft bend in the knees. Good. The hands either to the floor or to the shins, really making sure we're prioritizing that stretch in the spine. So feel like the hips are being pulled up and back, and the chest is leading forward, and the head is being pulled forward and down. This is all about lengthening the spine. Breathing, one more breath. Bending the knees, press the hands into the mat. Spreading the fingers, pressing the palms down. Left foot steps back, nice and long, to a long lunge. If you feel stable enough, breathe the hands up over the head, squeezing the belly in, extending your back leg. Feel like both feet are pushing the mat away from you in both directions. Coming into our first twist. So we're going to rotate to our right side and just open the arms. Either look to the side or look toward your back hand. Really extend your back leg as well and feel the fingertips reaching apart. Keep that lunge in your front leg. 2, 1. Breathe the hands to the heart, turning back to the front, and bring the hands down to the mat. Step both feet back to a plank position, and then drop the knees down. Lower down onto the belly slowly. Squeeze the bottom, extend the legs. And as we inhale, peel the right shoulder back to a cobra, twisted cobra. Exhale, release, lower down. Peel to the right, to the left, sorry. Peel that left shoulder away, looking over the left shoulder. And exhale, release down. And then lifting hands, lifting the toes under, back to your down dog. 3 breaths here. Thinking about that widening of the back, that's how we really support ourselves. And also the core and the Uddiyana Bandha, so your pelvic floor, all of those muscles are really engaged here. 2, 1. And start to roll forward toward the hands. Then we bring that left foot through, stepping it through between the hands, really extending that back leg. Press the feet into the mat. Inhale, lift the arms over the head. And then twisting to your left side. Open the hands, looking towards your back hand or straight to the side. Keep that lunge in the front leg. Keep extending your back leg. Shoulders down away from the ears, arms reaching. One more breath. Draw the hands back to the heart. Bring the hands back to the mat. And then releasing the feet together to Padasana, forward fold. And through our Hatha Flow class, everything we're trying to make nice and slow and controlled. So it's quite good mental practice. We're trying to slow down. One more breath here and forward fold. Maybe lowering a little bit more this time. And then flex the hands, push the hands in front of you. Shoulders are by your ears, and you inhale and lengthen the back as much as you can as you lift all the way up. A small back bend here, soften the neck back, let the head drop. Squeeze the bottom hard, push the hips forward. Inhale, lift. Head comes last always. Exhale, hand to the heart. Relax the shoulders down. Have a moment here just trying to feel your own heartbeat. Take a moment to go back through your checklist. Think about your feet gripping, thighs lifting and squeezing together, lower back extending, bottom squeezing, Uddiyana Bandha, Abdominals, pelvic floor, shoulders down. Soften the face. No tension on the forehead, on the jaw. Keeping yourself in that present moment. And we're coming into another flow, which will be similar to the last flow, but just with a few more poses added in. Moving with our breath. Inhale, reach the hands high into our back bend. Maybe a little bit further if you feel comfortable this time. Keep that neck soft and relaxed. Keep the bottom squeezed. Inhale, lift. Head comes last. Exhale, Padasana, forward fold. Careful not to sway back in your heels. The weight stays even between the balls and heels of the feet. And know where it's right for you to be. So if you need the hands on your shins to really lengthen the back, the hips really lift up, like you're trying to tilt your pelvis up to the ceiling. You can put a hand on the lower back if you want to feel if there's any curve there. Shoulders are already drawing down the back away from the ears. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, left foot steps back to a low lunge. This time we're keeping our left hands down on the mat and just peeling the right arm up so that we're in a nice open twisted lunge. So the right fingertips reach to the sky and we're really trying to pull that right shoulder back so that we can have a long line between the hands. One more breath. Hand comes back down to the mat. And keeping our feet here, we're going to lift the hands to the heart and lift all the way up. And then we're going to take a twisted prayer lunge. So we're going to rotate toward our right side. And then start to lower the left elbow outside the right thigh. So we're in a twisted lunge position. Keep extending, keep length through your back leg. And keep that lunge in your front leg. Breathing 2. 1. Release back to the center. Hands come down to the mat. Step back to a high plank. And this time, you can have the option if you want to keep the knees off the floor. So just put the knees down if you need. Slowly lowering onto the belly. Elbows stay tucking in. Inhale, twisted cobra. Peel the right shoulder back. Exhale, release down to the center. Keeping those elbows tucked in, keeping the shoulders down. Left shoulder peels back. Squeezing the bottom. Exhale, release down. Tuck the toes under. Release back to your down dog. One more breath. Left foot steps between the hands. It might take a couple of steps to get there. Try to make sure you've got straight line, knee to heel with your front leg. Keeping the right hand down on the mat. Inhale, peel the left fingertips reaching up. So you're stretching between both hands, opening the shoulders. Breathing 2. Lengthening the back leg. 1. Release the hand back to the mat. Lift the hands to the heart. Press both feet into the mat, pushing the mat away from you. Twist round to your left side. And then start to lower down, bringing that right elbow outside the left thigh. Breathing 2. 1. Twist back to the center. Bring the hands down to the mat. And stepping the feet together forward to Padasana. Forward fold. Again, remembering just to lift up to the shins if you need to. So really focusing on that, protecting the spine here. One more breath. And now we're going to lift into a chair pose. So sweep the mat with your fingertips and then sit the weight back into the heels and lift the arms over the head. Imagine you could lift your toes up so all the weight sits back into the heels, but we also squeeze the belly button in back towards the spine and very, very slightly and subtly tucking the tailbone under. So it's not sort of a big movement, but you can feel those muscles slightly contracting underneath you. The legs are squeezing together. And now we're going to sweep the hands to the right. So try to sweep the hands behind you, look behind you, lift back up to the center. Exhale, sweep the hands to the left, twisting, looking behind you, and release back to the center. One more time, nice and slow. Sweeping to the right, looking back, focus on twisting through the upper back to the middle. Exhale, sweep to the left. And this time lift all the way up, arms over above the head. Twist your right, open the arms, either looking to the side or behind you. Lift back up to the ceiling. Exhale, twisting to the left. Lift back up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to Pranayama to the heart. Take a moment again to connect with your own heartbeat. Listen to the rhythm of your breath. It might have quickened a little bit, so just try to come back to that steady pace. One more breath. Release the hands down by your side. Good. Just going to pull my mat forward a little bit. And I'm going to have a quick sip of water because I'm right in the sunlight and I get very warm. Okay. So we're going to come into a couple of balances. So for our balance exercises, we need to try and bring ourselves into that mental state where we let go of any expectations in ourselves, let go of any judgments. It doesn't matter if you wobble or if you're having an off day. My balance definitely changes every day, and I don't even know why sometimes. Sometimes you just have a day where it's harder. But just always keep it light-hearted and playful. And if you find that you're getting frustrated with yourself, then just take a pause, take a deep breath, remind yourself that that's not the intention. It doesn't have to be perfect, your practice. So coming to the very top of your mat, inhale, lift the arms high over the head. Exhale, forward fold, Padasana. Step the right foot back, then the left foot, and lift your hips high, come to a down dog. Inhale, lift the right leg to three-legged dog. Tuck that leg forward and step between the hands. Okay if it takes a couple of steps. Drop that back heel onto the mat and lift to a warrior one position. So your hips stay facing forward, your back foot's at 45 degrees, the toes facing to your left diagonal. And we're going to be transferring through to a warrior three. So start to really engage your right front foot, toes pressing down, all of the foot pressing into the mat, engaging your front leg. Transfer your weight forward. Reach your hands right in front of you like somebody is pulling your arms and start to lift that back leg, warrior three. Imagine you could balance a plate on your lower back, so you need to keep the hips level, drop the left hip down, feel like you're being pulled in two directions, Hold and breathe for 3, 2, maybe lifting a little more, last breath, 1. Bring both hands down to the mat. Try to keep that back leg at about 90 degrees. Now we're coming to a twisted half moon. So it's kind of reversed half moon. We're bringing our left hand onto the mat, or the left sort of fingertips onto the mat, and then seeing if we can lift our right arm up and look toward our right side. It gets a bit wobbly, but it doesn't matter if you need to touch that back leg down to the mat for a moment, and then maybe try again and try lifting the leg. Keep a soft bend in your right leg so you're looking after your joints. Breathing for 3, 2, 1. Both hands back to the mat. Step together, forward fold. And then bending the knees, roll up nice and slowly, uncurling through the spine. Good. And our last balance, before we go on the other side, we're going to come to our eagle pose. So we're bending just like we sit back in our chair pose, the nice low bend in the knees, trying to keep that back straight, pushing the bottom out a little bit, squeezing the belly in. We're then going to pick up our right leg. Hands can just come to the heart for now. Lift the right leg, cross the legs over. Now you can touch the right toes on the floor here, or you can lift the toes, or you can continue wrapping round and wrap the foot around your calf. Just realign your knees with the middle of the body in case your hips are twisted. Now if you want to, bring that right elbow above the left and wrap the arms around each other as well. I like to focus my eye gaze about 2 meters in front of me on the floor, so just past my fingers. And then really think of sitting the hips back, lengthening your spine, pulling the elbows down. 3, 2, 1. See if you can lift the knee into the chest, the right knee. Open the arms, and then join the feet back together, hands to the heart. And we're going into the same balance flow on the left side. So standing to the top of the mat. Going through your checklist for your mountain pose. Just checking on your root lock and your core. And relaxing the shoulders and the face. Get rid of any of those expectations and judgments. Inhale, lift the hands over the head. Exhale, forward fold. Bending the knees, step the left foot back, then the right foot, and just come to your down dog on a nice exhale. Now left foot lifts, 3-legged dog. Step through between the hands. It might take a couple of steps, that's okay. Drop the back heel, so the back foot comes to that 45-degree angle. Lift up to warrior 1, hips facing straight in front of you. Start to really focus on engaging your front left foot. Already getting that internal rotation on the back leg, so that we can think about that dinner plate balancing on the lower back as we start to transfer forward. Feel like your hands are being pulled by somebody who's lifting you up and forward. Lift the back leg. Really keep that right hip down. Keep a soft bend in the left knee. Feel the body being pulled in 2 directions. 3. Breathing 2. Maybe more extension for the last breath. 1. Hands come down to the floor. Hand transferring through to our twisted half moon. So your right hand or right fingertips are on the floor. And then we start to lift that left hand Might get a bit wobbly, but don't worry. If you need to put the foot or the hand down for a moment, that's okay. Again, I'm sort of keeping the eye gaze just straight ahead of me. You could try looking up to your top hand if you felt really stable. Open that left shoulder out. Breathing, 2, 1, maybe one extra twist. And release the hands back down. Step to a forward fold. Bend the knees generously and then start to uncurl the spine. Feel your way up the back. Shoulders settle back down. And we're coming to our last balance, our eagle pose. So already think about fixing that eye gaze. And then we sit back into our chair legs. So we're pushing the weight back onto the heels. Hands can come to the heart for now. And then we lift that left knee, cross the legs over. Toe can rest down there onto the mat, or you can continue wrapping the foot around the calf. Realign your knees with the middle of your body so the hips aren't twisting. And then if you want to, bring that left elbow over the right, wrap the hands round, pull the elbows down. See if you can sit a little bit lower, pushing the hips back. Looking just past the fingertips. Breathing, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, see if you could lift that left knee in towards the chest. And then nice and slow, feet come together, hands come to the heart. Good. So we've just got one last standing pose before we come down onto the mat. So we're going to take the legs nice and wide to about wrist width apart if you were to put your hands out. That's the rough distance. They're just a kind of bit wider than your hips. And then the toes are very, very subtly turned in, not too much, just a little bit in from heels. We're keeping that micro bend in the knees. All that means is that your legs are really engaged. You're not pushing back into the knee joint. Taking the hands to the hips. And as we go down, we want to keep the back long. We want to tilt from the hips. And we want to keep the weight even between the balls and heels of the feet. So we can take a deep breath in and lift and open the chest up to the sky. As you exhale, push the hips back behind you, still leading with that chest. Come halfway and hold. So we're aiming here for a completely flat back. We're really focusing on that pelvis pushing up. It should feel like it's quite hard work holding here because you're active. And then take another inhale. As you exhale, see if you can go a little lower. And then here, options are to bring the hands either to the thighs, to the shins, or down to the mat. But really focus on the stretch through the spine. And you should feel a nice stretch by the hamstrings as well. 3, nice slow breaths here. Focus on working with your exhalations to see if you can get a little bit more depth in the stretch. As you inhale, think of the pelvis tilting up and lifting, like you're trying to show your sitting bones to the ceiling. As you exhale, maybe pushing the chest a little bit further down. And then we can take our weight over. If your hands are on the mat, so if they're on the shins, you take both hands to the one shin. If they're on the mat, just walk the fingertips over to the right. So you're leaning toward your right leg now. And you can even really, really stretch out the left hand, and then you might feel a nice stretch down the side of the body. One more breath. Slowly coming back to the center And then walking the fingertips toward your left, or both onto the left shin if you're holding your shins. Still remembering to not lock back in the knee joints. Maybe reaching that right hand a bit further to the side to stretch through the side body. One more breath. Good. Coming back around the center, and we're going to come straight through to a hip stretch. So we're going to see if we can shuffle the feet out a little bit wider, and then we're going to drop over into a tiger crouch, and we're coming towards our right foot. So as you start to really, really bend into your right foot, the right heel might pop off the floor, and that's absolutely fine. See if you can flex your left toes so that the left toes point up towards the ceiling. And we're trying to visualize the hips pushing down toward the mat and the chest lifting up. So it's natural to crouch down a little bit. See if you can feel that lift. If you want more stretch here, then you can use your right elbow to push the right knee away. So you're opening the hip up even more. 2 more breaths. Thinking about those hips coming down and under, lifting the chest, flexing the left foot. 1 more breath. And then let's transfer over toward the left side, into our tiger spot over here. Don't worry if that left heel pops up. Try to think about the left heel. Visualize it coming down toward the mat. Maybe pressing your left elbow inside the left knee to open the left hip. Right toes pointing up to the ceiling. Sitting the hips low, trying to lift through your back. 2 more breaths. 1. Good. And release, sit the hips down. And we'll come to our Paschimottanasana, forward fold or staff pose. So the legs are straight out in front of you together, toes are flexed. Shuffle forward and just take that fleshy part of the bottom out to the side, that you can really feel the sitting bones underneath you. If you do have a strap you want to use, you can use it here around the feet. You're going to take a nice inhale. As you exhale, leading with your chest toward the shins, forward fold. So visualizing your head pulling toward the toes. If you wanted to, you'd have to bring a little bit of space between the feet, but you can hold the big toes with your middle and index finger, and you can use that as a lever to bring yourself down a little bit further. And really, really work with your breath here, because when you exhale, you can actually feel the space come into your spine and into the body, and that's when you can start to get a deeper stretch. Keep the elbows really nicely tucked in toward the body. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. 1. Maybe an extra push before we come out of our posture. Inhale, lifting up. Good. We're going to take a soft core exercise. So this is really slow and controlled movement. We're lying onto our back. We reach the arms up above the head. Point the toes away from us and try to lift the legs slightly off the floor. And as you exhale, come into a little ball. So you're tucking the knees in, pushing the hands down away from you. And inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze into a ball. Just 3 more, take it nice and slow. Press the back into the mat. Inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, extend and reach. Reach the body long. Exhale, squeezing in. One more, reach. And squeeze again. Good. And release the feet down onto the mat. Okay. We're going to hug that right into the chest and take a nice hamstring stretch. So the left knee can bend up if you want to, if you find the stretch a little bit intense, or you can reach the left toes away. Squeezing that right knee in, and then when you feel ready, very gently, on an exhale, start to uncurl that right leg. And we're going to have 8 breaths here. So really try to use each breath. Know that you've got time, so you don't have to rush. Ease the leg in nice and slowly. Make sure you can still feel the breath coming to your belly. So you're breathing into your diaphragm. Making sure you're keeping that left hip down as well. And as you increase your stretch a little bit, you could see if you could flex your right foot a little bit more. Flexing that foot will lengthen the hamstring even more. Two more breaths. And for our last breath, just try to see if you can increase a little bit if it's safe to do so. Hug the right knee in, so bending that right knee. Give it a big squeeze and release that leg down to the ground. Left knee lifts up. Squeeze the knee in. And now very gently start to uncurl that left leg. Take it slow. You've got 8 breaths, you've got time. Try to just increase little bits gradually as you exhale. Maybe bringing more of a flex to that left foot. Checking in that you've still got the same pace of breath, so you're not holding the breath. And also just trying to be aware of that leg staying parallel, so it's straight in front of you rather than going out to the side, because that gives us a different stretch. Try to keep the neck and the face nice and soft. Breathing 3. The last 2 breaths, perhaps squeezing the leg in a little bit more. And 1. Squeeze the knee in towards you. Give that left leg a hug. And gradually release the legs down. Good. Lovely. Coming in to our bridge pose. So the feet tuck in toward the body. Heels parallel to the hips. And the knees stay parallel as well. So if you've got a block, you could put a block between the knees and think of squeezing the block together. If you don't have a block, still think of the thighs squeezing toward each other. Even though the knees aren't touching, it's sort of a feeling of the legs being pulled together. And then we press the palms into the mat and squeeze the bottom, press the heels and feet into the ground and lift the hips. Maybe walk up into the shoulders only a little bit. And then really think of pushing so the chest comes toward the chin. Careful those knees aren't splaying out to the side, so keep that force of them pulling together. This should feel really active. You're actively holding your back, squeezing especially the lower back muscles. For 3, lifting up a little bit higher. For 2, maybe higher. 1, rolling, reversing down, so upper back comes first, then middle, then lower. Good. Bring the legs just to an open butterfly, so soles of the feet together, knees drop out to the side. And then here, you can press, sort of make your hands into little claws, and then press at the top of the groin, press down and push the legs away from you. The thumbs can either go on top or on the bottom. You can kind of switch around the angle of the hands. I think I prefer thumbs on top of the groin and the fingers below. And you should feel an extension through your lower back. So if you don't feel it, just maybe change around, see if you can push a little bit further, maybe change the position of your hands. Two more breaths. 1. And release. Just going to take a spinal twist here, and then our shoulders down, and then we come into our Shavasana. So we're going to open the hands out to the side, legs are straight, and then we're just bringing the right knee to 90 degrees, and then we allow that right knee to fall over to the left side of the body. And then we try to aim to peel the right shoulder back toward the mat. So that right shoulder will naturally lift a bit, but try to look toward your right hand and try to visualize that right shoulder coming down. You should feel a nice twist through the lower back. If you want to, you can slightly extend your right leg and hold onto your right leg with your left hand. And really try and relax the body here, because I find the more gravity, the more sort of grounded I get, the more relaxed I get, the deeper the twist I can feel in that lower back. Using your exhalations for that deeper stretch. 3, 2, 1. Release back to the center, nice and slow, no sudden movements. Easing your way back. 1 breath here. Legs extended. And then lift that left knee up to 90 degrees. And then start to shift that left knee over to your right side. That left shoulder will naturally come up. With every exhalation, visualize the left coming down. Maybe look towards your left fingertips, or just straight up to the ceiling if that's not comfortable for you. You could extend the left toes away a little bit, and you could hold just across your left thigh for a deeper twist. Focus on grounding and letting go. Breathing 3. You can close your eyes if you wanted to. 2. 1. Very, very slowly coming out. No sudden movements. Settle in the middle. Good. So we're finishing with our shoulder stand today. If you're comfortable with your shoulder stand, then just go straight into it. But I'm also going to talk through it slowly, just in case anyone hasn't done their shoulder stand before. So you have the option to use a blanket or a pillow to support you, and you just place it just underneath your lower back. So you kind of sit your bottom just past it so that you can bring your lower back onto your butt. Good. And then you tuck the elbows quite tight in toward the body, and you lift your legs up and use the weight of the legs to counterbalance to lift the hips, and you place the hands on the lower back. And this is sort of a half shoulder stand. If you want to come all the way up and you feel quite steady, you focus on keeping the neck very soft so you're not holding any tension in your neck muscles, but you start to lift the toes up toward the ceiling, walk the hands a little bit further up the back, keep the elbows tucking in toward each other, maybe walk up into the shoulders just a tad more, and you try to get that straight line of the toes down to the shoulders. You squeeze the bottom, you squeeze the legs together like you're gripping a penny between the thighs, toes feel like they're being lifted up to the sky, and you squeeze your tummy in toward the spine. And if you're very comfortable and you want a little bit more stretch, you can bring the palms down to the mat, take the legs further over the head, going toward the floor. It's okay if the feet don't touch the floor. If they do, just take a moment to keep the toes curled under so that you can feel that amazing stretch down the back and the hamstrings. And if you wanted even more, you could twist the spine by bringing the feet over to the right. Have a few breaths here. In case anybody comes out of their shoulder stand early, when you come out, just make sure you don't whip your head up off the floor. Keep it really slow and controlled. Maybe walking the feet over toward the left side of the body, coming into a twist there. Keep that neck soft. 2, 1. Back to the middle. Take the hands to the lower back to support yourself. Lift back up to a shoulder stand. And then when you're ready, the palms come down to the mat behind you, and you counterbalance the legs over the head. Control and lower the hips. Be careful not to whip the head up because you can hurt your neck. Legs gradually down. Good. And just into our fish pose, just to counteract our shoulder stand, which we always do. We bring the palms flat down onto the mat underneath the bottom. The elbows squeeze in toward each other, and we lift up to all the weights on the hips, and we open the chest, and we let the head completely drop back. So the head is just completely relaxed and dropped toward the mat. So you're just thinking of opening and pushing the chest up. 2, 1. With control, slowly lower down onto your back. And we're coming into our Shavasana, so finding a comfortable position. Putting on anything warm if you need. So if you've got any pain in your lower back or your knees, then you can put a blanket or a pillow just underneath the knees. You can either rest the hands onto the stomach, or you can have the hands open to the side, the palms facing up. And have the hands quite wide away from the body so that you can really allow the shoulders to roll open. Softening the eyes closed when you're in your comfortable position. As we come into our Shavasana, we want to firstly think of an intention. So we're coming into it trying to allow ourselves to be still. That can feel really hard because we're not used to allowing ourselves physically or mentally to be still, quiet, and to just be. So you'll probably have different thoughts coming into the mind, and that's completely natural and normal. And we're never fighting that, we're never fighting with ourselves. We're accepting those thoughts just as easily as they float into the mind. We choose not to become involved with them. We choose not to go into a story, and we just allow them to float by again and float back out of the mind. You might want to visualize your thoughts like clouds, and just visualize those clouds passing by. Your breath is your anchor. Anytime you're feeling distracted or disconnected, just begin to observe your breath. There's no need to change your breath, to try and control the way you're breathing. You're simply just observing it. Feeling that very soft movement in the body as you breathe. That nice rise and fall of the stomach and the chest. And bring your awareness to the very top of the head. And allow a sense of relaxation and calm to pour down across the body, softening the forehead and between the eyebrows. Seeing if you can allow your eyes to be still, just focused on one point behind the dark eyelids. Soften through your jaw. Allow the tongue to drop down away from the roof of the mouth and fall just behind the bottom teeth. Releasing down the neck, across the shoulders. The shoulders just dropping down naturally wherever they fall. There's no need to try and change their position. Allow them to be supported. And let go. And a wave of calm and peace travels down the arms right to the fingertips. The hands just naturally fall where they are. Softening across your chest as you breathe, allowing the chest to be open and release any tightness. Breathing lightness into your heart. And bringing your attention to your back. Breathing into your back, breathing into the shoulder blades. Allowing the back to really let go and just be supported by the mat. Using each exhalation to imagine breathing out any back discomfort or tightness. And begin to bring your focus to your stomach. And we've used our core muscles quite a lot. So really try to let go of those abdominals, let go of the pelvic floor. There's no need to squeeze or activate any of those muscles. Allow the stomach to release. Bringing calm and relaxation to your hips. Allowing the glute muscles to relax, the hip flexors to relax. And again, knowing that your breath is your anchor, that can draw your attention and focus back whenever you feel distracted. Allow the legs to fall heavy down towards the mat. And a wave of calm and peace travels down to the toes. With each breath, letting go. With each breath, relaxing the body and the mind. Maybe as you really start to release, it might feel like you're just drifting above the mat, completely weightless, knowing you're safe, supported, and giving yourself this time and space of stillness and quiet. And now just bringing slow movement back to the body. So just wiggling the toes and the fingers. Eventually maybe bringing yourself the bigger movements of the hands and the feet. Maybe rolling the head side to side just to awaken the neck. And then you could come to a stiff Shavasana if you wanted to, reaching the hands up above the head and pointing the toes away from you with the feet together, just like you'd stretch out in the morning. And keeping those eyes closed, eventually come to roll onto the right side of the body into the fetal position and resting here for a moment. Keeping the eyes closed and holding your relaxation. Very gently lift yourself to a sitting position, crossing the legs, allowing the hands to melt down onto the knees. Trying to feel those two little sitting bones underneath you. A gentle lift through your posture. Keeping the stomach relaxed, the shoulders dropping down. The chin is down slightly, extending the back of the neck. And bring your hands to your heart, pressing the thumbs into the chest. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings in this world be happy and free. Gently bowing down. Breathing in, opening the eyes. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for practice today. If you've got any questions, then you can turn your mute off.